Hello there, it's Sev from Three Counties Motorhomes and welcome to this video guide on how to use the touch panel you see in front of us here. This is commonly found on auto sleepers and auto trails. There may be some others, of course, but that's where I've seen these panels up to date. This one, of course, being an auto sleepers example. Now, what we have here is a very easy panel to use, and you shouldn't have any trouble really finding your way around, but this video will help you understand some of the features and some of the ways to navigate to those features. So this is the main screen. Now, before I mention what we're looking at here, the panel, when it's sort of not interacted with for a period of time, we'll call it an inactivity timer. After that period of inactivity, you will see the panel go black, and it will do this regardless of whether or not it's on or off. To bring the panel back to life, just literally touch it. Just touch anywhere on the screen and that will bring things back to life. Okay, so in this instance, the panel or the vehicle is off, the panel is on, as you can see. I've touched it to bring the screen to life, and then I can turn things on. Now, before I do, let's just have a look at what we see here. So we've got a top bar where we can see the external temperature in the top left. And then we have a lightning bolt right here. That means that the vehicle's plugged into electricity. You've got a humidity reading there, and then we have the internal temperature in the top right. The center screen, if you will, has the time at the top. We then have the branding, and then we have the date at the bottom. And then, of course, we have rows or two columns of buttons, 4 on each side. Now, the power button's on the top left, so if we touch that, then you can see that turns blue, so something active on this is turning blue, and it's also turned on the lights master switch as well at the same time, and in this vehicle the lights have turned on. Now that means we're now obviously powered up, so this is the same as turning on your leisure battery, and your 12-volt circuit should now be working. A couple of obvious ones. This one will turn on the water pumps, that's your water pump master, and this one here can be your outside awning light. Now, that's where the relatively straightforward stuff stops. The rest of it's all going to take a little bit of explanation. Now, what we have here are two buttons that allow us to see the levels of our batteries and water tanks. Now, if you look at these icons, the first one here is a picture of a water tank with a ruler in it, and then the battery is sort of sat behind it, peeking out from behind. And then the one below is the battery in the front with the water tank peeking out from behind. Now, there's actually only two screens here, one or this one or that one. Pressing either button is going to take us to that. Now, when we get to that page, we then have these buttons here. It's very odd because there are only 2 pages to cycle in this instance. So if I press right from the water levels, there we go. It takes us to the battery one, and right again will take us back to the water levels. But it's the same if I press the left, we go to the battery levels. So because there's only 2 screens, these left or right arrows basically do the same job. They just go to the other one of those screens that you could have selected. And the home takes you back to the home screen. So yes, when you're pressing those left and right arrows, you're just selecting between these 2 screens. You can just go directly to whichever one you want with the press though. So the first one, as you've seen, is the water tank levels. So this is going to be showing you your fresh and waste tank levels. That's pretty straightforward. And the power levels here, a little bit more information. So first of all, it says the battery voltages on the left. So we can see the leisure battery and vehicle battery voltages, both in a bar sort of representation, but also we can see the actual voltage numbers down here at the bottom. We can see here the active battery, which is the leisure battery in this instance. We can see the current, and this is a positive and negative bar display, and it also has the number representation at the bottom, so we can see how much current's going in or out of the battery. Then over here we have the mains current currently being used by the vehicle, again in a bar or number form, and the same then for the solar panel generation. So when that's generating any power, that will come to life as well. Very simple. Now over here we have a button to switch batteries, okay, and if I press that it will switch the battery. You can see it changing from V to L as I do so, okay. Now of course it's very important to make sure that when you press this, or before you press this button, that you have your vehicle plugged into mains electricity and that your battery charger is verified as working, and then that way you know that when you switch to the vehicle battery you're not going to be draining it, which is of course bad, but you will actually be charging charging it up. But this, of course, allows you to switch batteries so that you can top up the battery levels as needed. And if we go to the battery levels now, you can see, of course, the voltages are a little bit more even, where the vehicle battery voltage is now rising from being on charge and the leisure battery voltage is decaying. You can see we're putting in a lot more energy as well, and we're also drawing more mains electricity as a result. So yeah, that's what we can do there with the battery swap button. Lastly, there is a settings area here. Now, the first page here, you can see it has the power settings. So we have on the left, we have active battery select. So again, we can use this to choose which battery we select. So it does the same as the button you've just seen me operate on the main screen. The difference here, though, is that you can turn on and off the smart feature. And this essentially is going to switch the battery depending on what it deems is the best energy level to draw from. So for example, if the vehicle battery is getting a bit low, it's probably going to switch it over if it's on charge, or if you are on mains charge, sorry. So, you know, it can do that kind of stuff for you a little bit automatically. And it's kind of the same here for the solar battery as well. So this is the target for the solar panel. So you can see where it's prioritizing, and again, it will smart choose when voltage of a particular battery gets low, it will switch over to charge that battery as well. Now, over here we have automatic tank fill. If we press this, it's basically going to turn on the power to an external water filler point so that you can use a submersible pump or something similar to fill water from an external tank into your fresh tank. And then here we have your tank heater button. So if you do have tank heaters fitted, this will turn these on or off. The next page over, we just got some lighting settings, two options. You can choose whether or not the main light is turned on with the power for the panel being turned on or off, and of course the same for the awning light, so you can enable or disable that feature for those two sets of lights. And then we have screen settings. So this is where we can see software and hardware version numbers. We can choose whether or not the key, or when we touch the screen, it beeps. And we can choose whether or not we have a water level alarm. We can choose the backlight level, so how bright this backlight is. And of course, how long it takes for the screen to time out to that inactivity, or that inactivity period on the screen, so that it will go black. So you can set that there. And then next we can set the time and date, all pretty self-explanatory right there. And then we're back to this first page on the settings. And that's basically it. That's the control panel. It's as super easy to use as that, really. There's nothing complicated that should catch you out. It's actually quite well laid out, very responsive as well. I've never really had any issues trying to get this to work, or had any issues getting buttons to register my touches or anything like that. So yeah, and like I say, it's a relatively common panel now in some late vehicles, shared across a couple of brands. I'm Sev, and I hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.